Sorry for taking so long. I had to take a crazy poop, and then
dude, yeah.
Then I realized I was not going to have the sufficient amount of TP needed for said poop.
Oh no!
So I had to run out the bathroom with pants around my buttocks, but
your
you know,
there?
obviously not touching my cracks.
Wow.
So.
Yeah, that's an emergency situation.
Unfortunately, I've been there, done that a little bit too much than I would like to admit.
What's worse, that or like sitting down like it's like an emergency poop? You're like, oh crap, and then you sit down, and you like realize it's gonna be a long one, and you like didn't bring your phone or anything.
Oh
so you're just sitting there like contemplating life the whole time. You're like struggling to pass a small child through your rectum. Yeah.
This is what it's like to be in colonial times.
I guess so. I don't know what they had to think about. They didn't have Reddit or anything to.
I don't know. Maybe like
get through the tough times.
Probably like, gosh, I hope I don't die of dysentery.
Yeah. Is this poop my last? Like, we don't know. Actually, I think dysentery works like you poop like a whole bunch, right? And you like poop out like all the water out of your body. I think that's how dysentery works.
I don't know. I just know the meme from
I think you get
Trail.
dehydrated. Yeah, dude.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
I think you just like poop and poop and poop like everything, and then you have like nothing in your body, and you die of like dehydration, which sounds awful.
I wipe and I wipe and I wipe. It's like a marker.
It's like a marker and poop. Still poop. It's like there's a magic marker down. God damn it. It's a great show. What a good show. Oh god, the blooper reel for that show was amazing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So great.
Highly recommend that. All right, welcome back everybody to the Flick Your Bick Podcast Network. Here it's Ben and Nick back at you as always. Nicholas, what is up? What's going on?
What is going on? I've actually been pulling out my hair, trying to figure out a bunch of audio stuff for streaming stuff and just other stream stuff.
Oh.
It's a complicated mess, and if you're any sort of just techie in general, you learn to really hate troubleshooting because you go to point A, you have like a bigger picture of what you want to do, but then you got all these little problems, so you try to solve one problem, and that leads to like testing like 3 other different things to try to solve that one little problem that helps fix the bigger problem.
Oh yeah, you're giving me PTSD of my sound tech days. It's like, oh, let me fix this mic real quick. Oh, I touched that mic, now the entire thing's off. Okay, yeah. Oh man. Well, I hope the podcast, we're getting good enough at this now that this gives you a little reprieve, just a nice, simple
absolutely.
Audio recording. Good. That's what I like to hear. Awesome. Yeah, I've just been, drove to and from Denver in the last day, so it's been like 16 hours in the car in like a day and a half, so that's a little rough.
Yeah.
But, yeah, other than that, I'm good. We're thinking about long car rides for you. My ass starts to hurt after like 4 hours or so.
Oh yeah, me too.
I need to get like a cushion for my car, like for my ass.
Dude,
I
got a bony.
I don't know what.
I got a bony ass, so I totally feel that.
Yeah, man, that's a problem. It's a big problem. But anyway, we're not here to talk about our bony asses, as fun of a podcast that might be. Today, we are delving back into the video game world a little bit, something we're both very passionate about.
Yeah.
This kind of just came up just in passing. We were talking about stuff, and we knew we'd be talking about video games a lot on this pod at some point. So we thought, again, to kind of give us a little more background into our history and personal tastes in the genre, in the art form, I guess it's not a genre. We would go through and talk about our top 10 video games of all time for us. So that's what's coming up. But first, we must flick our Bix. What are you flicking it to this week, Nicholas?
I had found quite an interesting 2 songs on YouTube. It is, of course, Billy Joel's For the Longest Time, and I forget which song it is specifically, but it's the Les Miserables song at the end of the first half, the big
One Day More
song, or One Day More. There we go.
Yeah.
So I found For the Longest Time and One Day More, sung by a guy that sings it as Waluigi.
Need to see that now. That's that is hilarious.
Yeah, like especially for the One Day More Les Mis one, like it's just the same
Oh,
guy
God.
singing as Waluigi, but he sings like all of the parts. It's fucking hilarious.
That's great. You should link that in the description of the video.
Oh, I will. I
YouTube.
will.
That is so good. Do you remember? This was a while ago. This is like older YouTube. There's this guy. His name was Nick. I can't remember his last name, but he would like cover a bunch of songs, a lot of like musicals and like Disney songs. But he would like sing all the parts. Like he had this like crazy ability to like mimic voices that he would like sing like the girls' parts and like the super low like guys' parts
Okay.
and like mash them together. God, I
I
can't remember his name.
think I know what you're talking
It
about.
would all be like split up in like different boxes on the screen, like Brady Bunch style.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
God,
Yeah.
I can't remember
yeah.
his name. Nick, I think it's Nick Pantera. I think is what it is. Is the
That
guy's name?
sounds
That's
about
what
right.
that's what I thought of when you were talking about One Day More, because he does each part and it's crazy. Like dude is super talented. So it's just like that, but it's Waluigi. That is next level. I like that. Oh, that's funny.
It definitely is even more funny if you if you just throw those songs on like a random playlist and just put it on shuffle.
You're just like riding in the car with your boys and that comes on.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I like that a lot. Yeah. I got really excited when you said One Day More.
Yeah.
This is my jam. That song's amazing. That song is incredible. Yeah, and when you said for the longest time, I thought of the How I Met Your Mother version.
Oh, of course. Which is
So
weird
good.
because I think nowadays when people have seen that episode, that song in the How I Met Your Mother episode, I think that's like what people automatically go to when they think of that song now.
Yeah, which is wrong, but that's okay. Billy Joel's got enough fame. He's good. He doesn't need any more.
Mm-hmm.
All right, mine this week is, I guess I would just say tattoo ideas. I've
Okay.
got for some reason I've gotten itchy to get my next tattoo, and I think I know what I'm getting next, but I'm like just planning that out. That didn't take very long, but it's like put me down a rabbit hole, and I'm like looking at all these designs and ideas and stuff. And I think I got some cool ideas coming up. I just lack the funds and time to get them, but that's minor details. We don't worry about that. It's all the fun of it is the planning and looking at all the crazy cool designs everybody has. I always thought that was like dumb. People were like, "Oh man, once you get your first one, you're like addicted to it." It's like crazy. I'm like, okay, how do you get addicted to like drawing on yourself? Like, doesn't make any sense. But I kind of get it now. I'm not to like that level, but yeah, it's interesting. It's a weird like reflection on like yourself as a person. At least it's for me, because I want to get stuff that was like really personal and like really means a lot. Like you're putting it on your body forever. It shouldn't just be like. And I'm not. I mean, the people who do like just put, "Oh, I like Star Wars. I'm just gonna put that on." I'm like, I fucking love Star Wars. I don't know if I would just like put that on my body per se. Like, so it's interesting to think about like stuff that like is really meaningful to you and like what would actually be worth doing that, and then also like making it be designed in a way that it actually looks cool as well. That's kind of the combo you're looking for there. So yeah, it's been really interesting, and also I just have gained such an appreciation for the tattoo artists. Those people are insanely talented.
Oh,
I can't even like comprehend like how they do that stuff. It's ridiculous.
It's definitely an art form.
Yeah, I hats off to those guys. I can't, anyone who can draw like even a little bit, I'm like, oh my god, you're an artist. Like you're gonna make it big, because I just can't do it anything. So like even just a little bit is like insane to me.
Yeah, I've honestly thought about how cool it would be to get a sleeve. I think I would get a sleeve if I felt like it. Like
yeah, you just have to be
again,
properly. You just have to be properly inspired. Like something.
It has to be really like a lot more better thought out and more appreciative from you than just like a regular tattoo. It's an entire arm.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, and those are expensive and take a long time.
Sure. A lot of money.
Yeah, and it hurts, but whatever. No pain, no gain, as they say. So let's get into it a little bit here. So I've got, first off, I'm just going to tell you kind of the parameters I put for this list. So first off, this is our personal favorite games, not necessarily best. There'll be some games on here that aren't like technically wonderful or astounding. It's just our personal favorite. So it's all just our personal opinions here. And then we put a limit on it because otherwise I think it was going to be too hard. We're doing just one game per series. So
Mm-hmm.
I just have like one Zelda game because if I could like had to pick between all of them, like it would be really hard. So just to make so that one game kind of represents that series as a whole is kind of how we're doing it just for like simplification purposes. Uh,
Mm-hmm. Sure.
yeah, that's how we're doing it. So first off, I'm gonna list just real quick couple honorable mentions that didn't make the list for me. Those would be Skyrim. Obviously everyone knows Skyrim, great game. Breath of the Wild. Gone Home, which you should definitely play because it's really short. It's an amazing little indie game. The Batman Arkham series. Probably my first one's probably my favorite. Star Wars Battlefront 2, the PlayStation 2 version, not the new one.
Mm-hmm.
That game, a lot of great memories. And then Mario Kart 64 and Smash Bros 64. Again, just off the
Okay.
list for me. Those amazing games that I didn't quite put in there. So that's what I've got there. Did you do any honorable mentions, Nicholas? Stuff that just didn't quite make it?
Somewhat. I probably could think of other honorable mentions, but I had to say probably the honorable mentions that I will mention is the games that are probably similar, but it like some of them are like in the same series. I just couldn't
Right.
again for you for Zelda. It's like comparing like all the Zelda games where clearly there are probably two or three Zelda games that you probably would probably put in your top, but since we are
Yeah.
limiting it,
Mhm.
so can't really exactly do that. So for honorable mentions, I'll probably put Smash Melee and
Mm.
probably World of Warcraft, honestly.
Just straight World War. Yeah, I get that for sure. All right. Well, Nicholas, as I am a gentleman and a scholar, I'm going to let you start.
Hmm.
What's your first one? Now, I guess I should say mine. I kind of ranked, but not really. And you didn't rank yours at all, so you're just going
Yeah,
through.
yeah.
Okay.
It was too difficult for me to rank them all, in all
Yeah.
honesty. First
Yeah.
one, I have Smash Bros. Wii U / Ultimate, which one of those is already out. I would have put Melee above that, but I'm definitely more a part of the Wii U / Ultimate. I guess you could say competitive scene more than the Melee competitive scene. So that's kind of why I put it there. And I just like the roster for that game because technically it is a fighting game, and for me personally, a good fighting game starts with the roster, and I
Mm,
absolutely love that roster.
yeah, and it's the largest. Even
Yep.
before Ultimate comes out, obviously Ultimate's the largest, but even before
Yep.
that, it was the largest. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would have to say N64 Smash just for nostalgia purposes for me. But yeah, I would agree. The Wii U version is awesome. It's really, really good. Though I have a special place in my heart for Subspace Emissary. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I
I
don't think
loved
they'll
it. It
bring
was really
something.
fun.
Yeah, I don't think they'll bring something that large scale to Ultimate, but one can hope.
Yeah, man, I loved that. I had so much fun with that. It was really cheesy and weird, but it was fun. Yeah, so my I guess first one here, what I had at number 10 is Dragon Age Origins.
Oh,
If you never
okay.
played you played this, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah, I think you played Origins. Yeah. So it's a great game. My favorite thing about it is with BioWare, you have that player agency and choice, and how your choices like stack onto each other. So,
Mm-hmm.
which is awesome. But Dragon Age Origins especially has a much is that on even larger scale because you can start out as like six different characters. Like you can be like the game can start in like six different complete areas, and that like completely changes the game even from the beginning. So it's just that level of like depth in the choices is at a whole you know is at a whole nother level. Obviously they have that in like Mass Effect and other games, but just especially Origins itself, that was the largest like scale of it in the BioWare series. And I just love BioWare games, the party aspect and like the relationships you build. Really, really entertaining, and just the story in Origins is really good. I think it's the best of the series for sure. The combat isn't like overly fun, that's why it's a little lower on the list. But yeah, great game.
I definitely like all the memes that came from that game, like
Yes.
enchantment,
Enchantment.
enchantment.
Yes, that guy is the best. I love Alistair.
Great game.
Alistair is one of my favorite characters in any video game.
Mm,
He's hilarious. I love that. It's a great bromance.
yeah,
Yeah, that just a great game, and I think really groundbreaking as well.
I really dug Shale. He was a DLC companion, but
Yes.
he was just a rock
Just
guy.
a rock dude. Yeah, very sick. All right, number 9 for you, man. Or next up for you, I guess.
This one was a little bit of a difficult one, but I picked it based on nostalgia. I put Animal Crossing for the GameCube. I played
Yeah, there
that
you go.
game so goddamn much. I really like weird like slice of life simulation games. So Animal
Yeah.
Crossing is probably what started that uh niche liking for me personally. But yeah, I definitely played that game for years. I spent so much time collecting every single piece of furniture, just doing everything in the game. I'm pretty sure I 100% completed that, which means just getting everything, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's insane. That's awesome. How how do you think of that genre as it's kind of developed? Like, there's like Stardew Valley now, and Harvest Moon and other stuff. Is Animal Crossing still like the goat for you in that sense?
It depends. I'm hoping they come up with a new Switch Animal Crossing because it'd be Animal
Yes.
Crossing on the go.
Yes.
But yeah, like actually, I'll Stardew Valley is probably a an honorable mention that I will say because that game is
Oh man,
fantastic and
that game is just so good.
yeah, it's fantastic. The art and the music are really good. But yeah, the slice of life genre, it's very niche. A lot of people just don't really like it, which I can kind of understand. I mean, who wants to pay off their house loan in a video game?
Right?
Not
Exactly.
exactly what you'd imagine as fun, but I like that weird like bullshit Second Life kind of aspect thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's like fun because it's very light and happy, and it's
yeah,
like cute, and like it's not like overly depressing or dark or anything or challenging.
it's super derpy. It's super derpy, and I love it.
Yeah, very entertaining. That's a great one. Number 9 for me, I had God of War, the new one
Really? Okay.
on the new
Oh
consoles.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Mhm.
So what I loved about this game, one is just how it completely reinvented itself. Like I like played some of the other God Wars, but they were like okay. I'm not a huge like hack and slash guy, and the story was kind of whatever. But just the way that they just took the series to an entirely new level in one game is insane. Like the story is unbelievable. Like one of the better twists at the end of a video game. Uh,
Mhm.
the art in it is insane. The world itself is just gorgeous. But the best thing for me about that game is the gameplay is just so fun, man. Throwing that axe and like
Yeah.
and the first time you throw the axe and it calls back and you like the controller like vibrates like when it catch it in the hand, it's like, oh, this is addicting. Like it is
I can do
it's
this?
so yeah, it is so fun, man. And there's just really great twists and turns in the game, and some of the I argue like the best like superhero like fight scenes. They're not like superheroes, like they're gods, obviously, but the same kind of vibe, like superhero fight scene in any game, bar none.
Mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
I played the heck out of that game. I didn't 100% it, but just because I had other stuff going on. But yeah, it definitely deserves a spot for me.
Yeah, there's a lot of like I won't say any of them because it's the main one I'm thinking of is a pretty big spoiler, but there's a lot of like small little nuances that you notice in
Oh
the
yeah,
game that really it just makes the game so much better and really makes you think that like wow the people that made this game really thought a lot about a lot of things about how the
yes,
world works, how the relationship between certain characters are. It's really interesting. Yeah, that's a game that I don't own. I know how I've seen a person play through it all the way, but it's definitely a game that I need and want to pick up, even though I have already seen what happens.
yeah.
Just for the fact alone that Santa Monica Studios they deserve the money for that game.
Yes, 100%. And just even though like the story, the gameplay is just so much fun that
Oh
it's
yeah.
fun to just
Hmm.
play in general. Yeah. Great game. What's up next for you?
Actually, it's Harvest Moon Magical Melody, another slice of life
There you go.
simulation game. Again,
How did I
Harvest Moon
know?
is
Yeah.
it's super. It's all about farming. I think the thing I like about these slice of life games, which is a pattern that I've noticed, is you start off with nothing and then you gradually like build up as days progress and stuff, and
Become
it's
like
almost
the
like
Monopoly man. Like yeah,
yeah, yeah.
exactly.
It's kind of like a weird survival thing, especially for Harvest Moon, where you have like literally nothing. You're like picking up like random weeds in the wilderness that might sell for like a penny. And you just do that for like a month, and like, oh, you have enough to buy a cow. You buy a cow, then you still pick up the weeds, but now you got milk. And I don't know, it's a weird like survival
Hey man.
aspect of these slice of life games that I really enjoy, and it's kind of fun to just see your progress over like a span of time.
Yeah. It's the American dream, man. Start from nothing.
Right, absolutely.
As Drake said, started from the bottom. Now we here. That's how it goes. Next one for me is Horizon Zero Dawn. Again,
Okay.
a Sony exclusive. thing that really blew my
I didn't
mind about this
actually
game.
play this one or
Ah,
see very
dude,
much
you
of
got
it.
to. It's incredible. So, thing that really blew my mind about it is it basically like created its own like genre. Like it's post-apocalyptic, but it's like Native American like caveman style combat, but also there's like
Yeah.
robots. Like the just the art style and like just the whole idea of the game is so unique and cool that I was just so into it from the first trailer. And then the gameplay to me, it's like almost the perfection of that kind of like open world, third person, like open world genre. Like they take like the best things from other games like that and kind of put it into one and really like streamline the process, like inventory systems and like upgrading and stuff. It's just so clean and it's simple yet like there's depth to it. Like just the mechanics of the game are amazing. The combat's really fun. The story is good. At the end, I kind of like I was like, okay, whatever. So the story isn't like top level. That's kind of why it's lower for me. But the game itself is just amazing and it's gorgeous. The environments and everything are insane. But I just give huge props to the in the time of sequels and like reboots and stuff, like something
Hmm.
completely new that you've never seen anything like it before. I was blown away by that game.
Yeah, let me ask you a question. How's the female lead protagonist character? Do
She's
you like her
awesome.
as a character?
She's awesome. The voice actress for her was great. I really liked her, and that game has some player agency. Like you can like kind of pick your responses in like a conversation wheel, but it's not like BioWare levels of like you say something like complete game changes, but you do have some agency in it. But it's cool. Like her story is really great. And there's some fun side characters in that game. But yeah, what stands out is just the world and the like creation of basically like a whole new IP that is completely unique. And I think she's going to be a staple for Sony like for like years to come. So
Oh
I
yeah, I hope
yeah.
she's. I don't know too much about her, but I like her design, and I think she's a pretty cool female protagonist.
Yes, yeah. We can always use more of those for sure.
Hmm.
What's up
Hmm.
next for you?
Now we're going into some more fighting games for me. Again, this is a little bit more nostalgia, but next one I have up is Soul Calibur 2,
Yeah.
specifically the GameCube version. I'm pretty sure you played that one too with
I did
the
some. Yeah.
with a
Link's
link
in it.
on it.
Yes.
Yep, yep, of course. So yeah, again, this is I'd probably say like I played N64 Smash, but Smash isn't necessarily a traditional fighter game. But Soul Calibur 2 back in the day definitely was probably what hooked me on competitive like fighting games, even though I didn't really play competitive fighting games back then because a little bit too young and there aren't really any places around where we live where you can go and compete in tournaments and
Right.
such. But definitely the competition of fighting your friends, I definitely got hooked on, and definitely Soul Calibur 2 is definitely where I found my love and appreciation for fighting games.
That's awesome. I was actually gonna ask you that question. What was the first one that really got you into it? And you answered it for me. So that is good. Cool. Next up for me, maybe a controversial pick. A lot of people love this game. A lot of people hate it. I picked Bioshock Infinite is next
Okay.
for me. Yeah. A lot of people like Bioshock One more, which I could even like go along with the argument that it's a better game, but just the atmosphere and like the themes of Infinite, I thought were just so amazing. Like the first like 20 minutes of that game, like when you first like go up to Columbia, is some of the best like game experiences I've ever had, like atmosphere wise, and just the like the political and like religious themes of that game. It's just so interesting. It like a game that like really made me like rethink like what I feel about like religion and politics and everything. And that's very rare in video games. The gameplay is really fun too. It's a little repetitive,
Hmm.
but it's fun and the story is great and just but overall the best thing it's probably number one for me all time of like atmosphere and like in
Oh wow.
environment and like themes and music and everything. It's just insane. That game is gorgeous. I listen to songs from that game like
Yeah.
to this day, like on Spotify and stuff. And it's amazing. Those guys, in my opinion, created a masterpiece. The ending is a little controversial and a little wild.
Hmm.
I liked it personally, but yeah, that game was a must have on the list for me.
Yeah, I'd say I'm definitely with you there. Like, I definitely do think that Bioshock 1 is the far superior game compared to Infinite. But no, I'm right there with you. Infinite's probably my favorite out of the Bioshock trilogy. Yeah, just like you said, it's fantastic. Like, ideologies on politics and religion. I really liked just the environment, like you said. I'm a huge sucker for like floating islands type things, and
Oh
Colombia is
yeah,
just a
for
floating
sure.
island.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
so cool. The
I
like
love.
40s,
Yeah,
50s kind of
yeah.
vibe to it, and then you
Hmm.
go into the underground and you like see the resistance, and it's just, oh man, it's so cool. And that beginning part when you get into the lift, and it's like three, two, one, and then you pop up and the music, and you see Columbia for the first time, and the
Yeah.
music starts playing, and then you land in like that garden where the water is, and like they're sitting there, the
Yeah. Hmm.
choir music in the background. It's just, oh man, it's so cool. You like walk out
Yeah,
to
and then
like
a
the
little.
fair and you see the barbershop quartet and all that.
Yeah.
It's just, oh
Yeah.
man, it's next level.
Yeah,
I could
a lot of the
I could gush
music
on
in
that game.
there are like weird 40s renditions of modern music, like that
Yes,
barbershop quartet. I think is
they
I think
sing
they're
"God Only
singing.
Knows"
Yeah, they're singing like a
at the
Beatles
beginning, but
song or
then
something like that.
there's a Beatles song. There's a like later on when you're at the beach. There, I think it's like a
Girls just want to
Madonna.
have
Like
fun.
yeah, it's girls just want to have
Yeah,
fun. There's some
it's
Madonna in there
really
too.
cool.
Yeah, it's just really interesting the way they did it. Yeah, and the music from it's insane. I would recommend even just checking out the soundtrack.
Hmm.
Particularly their rendition of "Will the Circle Be Unbroken," which is like one of
Oh
my
yeah, yeah,
favorite songs. It's just gorgeous. I absolutely love that game.
yeah. Pretty big shocker when you're at the little carny thing near the beginning of the game, just like, isn't this the prettiest white girl you've ever seen? You
Mhm.
just oh,
I'm like,
what?
oh, ooh,
And then they bring out, yeah,
interesting.
they say like they want you to hit like a Negro with like a baseball, like, oh god, this is
Yep.
I don't like this.
Yeah, and that it was so just the contrast of like, oh, this is so beautiful, this is so amazing, look at this
Yeah,
world, and
yeah.
then it's like, oh yeah, heavy racism
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
like some fascism later on. It's like, oh shit, okay, like yeah, just the stark like and when you say you're not going to do that, and what you actually do is insanely violent, and is like,
Right.
oh, okay, like this game, like just the transition into that. This, oh man, it's so good. And I think the
Mhm.
game falls
Mhm.
apart kind of at the end, but at the beginning, it's probably the best beginning to a game I can think of. Honestly,
It's up there for sure,
it's
for
absolutely
sure.
incredible. All right, next up for you.
Another fighting game, the recent Tekken 7. Big fan of the Tekken fighting franchise. This one's for 7 specifically. It came out 2016, 2017, but recently. They changed a lot of the mechanics for like how combos work. They made a lot of balances to it. Like in terms of fighting games, what everybody kind of really wants is a balanced roster. You want to pick like a
Right.
character that you like that can compete really well with everyone else in the roster. Just as an example for like Smash Bros. Wii U, like Ganondorf and Jigglypuff are like the worst characters in the game versus like
Yep,
Cloud
and
and
they're just
Bayonetta, who
useless.
are
Yeah.
just absolutely way better than the rest.
Mm-hmm.
Tekken 7 manages to like with the new combat mechanics and the combat combo system that they have. They along with like really good balancing, like Tekken 7 is probably like one of the most balanced fighting games I've ever played, and it just looks beautiful. The characters are great. I could say a couple other things about other things I didn't like about it, but when you get down to it, Tekken 7, Tekken in general, is a fighting game. So I'm gonna judge it on how good is it as a fighting game, and it blows it out of the water for me.
Yeah, definitely, man. Balance is so important, and yeah, if you have a game that's like perfectly balanced, that's a huge
Hmm.
deal.
Hmm.
Because no one like wants their favorite character to like not actually be viable. Like that's no
Right,
fun.
right.
Up next for me, I have Mass Effect 2. It's number 6 for me. I love the Mass Effect series. Bioware's best work, in my opinion. And 2 is the best one of the series. I think so.
So I've
It's
heard.
yeah, I absolutely love it. You need to play Bioshock, man. I'm gonna sit you down and make you
Yeah,
play it.
I
It's
know.
or not Bioshock, Mass Effect. God dang it, I'm getting confused. You need to sit down and play Mass Effect, man. It's amazing.
Yeah, I have a bunch like everyone and their grandmas play the Mass Effect pretty much. I really want to get into it because it seems cool. But I have been told that I don't necessarily need to play Mass Effect 1, that I can just go
Um,
into 2 and be okay with
what
it.
I would do, what you would do, I'd want you to play 1, but like just mainline it. Don't do any because the side quests are kind of lame and it's kind of clunky because it's an older game. But if
Right,
you
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
put it on like easy and just play through the main story, it's not very long and it'll build out the world a lot for you. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, but 2 and 3 you want to play everything, every part of it. But the first one you can just kind of buzz through. But yeah, 2 is amazing and the series is incredible as well. I've gone back and replayed it so many times again with Dragon Age: The Player Agency, how you can the Paragon Renegade system.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think some of the best character work in any game. Like Garrus, Liara, like all the people who are with you like throughout the whole adventure are just amazing. And the thing I like about the game too, like the combat and the actual like gameplay has like develops in each iteration to become like even more fun and fast paced and interesting, which is great. And yeah, just characters and an ending that I like keep coming back to. I absolutely love that series. I've replayed it so many times, and I love those games that like that you can replay and just like make different choices, and the
Oh,
game's almost
absolutely.
completely different. I think that is really valuable, and I've had a lot of fun doing that. Like going through and just doing the renegade, just going full renegade, and like I don't know if you've seen this is a popular thing in the game. When in each game, there's a couple instances where like a reporter will come up to you and like ask you questions, and if you're playing full renegade, which means like you're the badass like bad guy, you just punch her in the face. Like, you just don't even. I'm not taking questions from you. Bang, and you just like punch her in the face. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I have
Sounds like
heard that.
misogynistic, but
Yeah.
in the Mass Effect world, like the races are like or genders are like completely equal. Like the best like soldier in the game is a woman. Like it's completely equal, and
Hmm,
it's
okay.
yeah, which is really cool. And like I think it's the best. That series is the best, like most I think realistic representation of how humanity would attain like space travel and like how they would interact with um new
Hmm.
species that they discover. It's really interesting, like politically wise as well, with that with the different aspects and the different races. And I think by far the most like realistic representation of that. It kind of seems kind of more like like more fantasy than sci-fi, but it's hard sci-fi. Like everything makes sense and is really really viable. So that's another thing I really love about it.
Plus, you get to smash your genitals with an alien if you want.
Yes, yes, you can make sweet love to a blue alien woman, which gotta love that. Up next for you, man.
All right, this is an oldie, but probably one of my favorite franchises. A little bit controversial, given the state of the fandom of it, but I, bar none, this is probably if I had to rank some of these in like favorites, this one probably would be up definitely in the top 5 at the very least. Sonic Adventure Battle 2. It's a
Oh wow,
great game. It's originally started on the Dreamcast, but I started on the GameCube. Weird thing about this game is that story and the game is fun and it works really well. But honestly, the meat of the game is raising these little baby things. They're called chows. And depending on like how you raise them, like if you're like a good character and they really like you, they'll be a good chow, and if you're bad, then they'll be a dark chow and whatnot. And you can give them like animals, and they'll like if you give them like an elephant, they might just like spawn like a trunk out of their nose or something like that. It's a really weird game. They have their own stats and stuff, which you can like enter them into like races, and there's like chow karate where you can watch your baby life form like beat
Jesus
up another baby, which is it's really fun. There's like for a weird like Sonic game where it's all about like speed and like weird like being cool and stuff, they have this like baby simulator game. Again, I like simulation games, and
Is this game
it's
made in
just
Japan?
really freaking fun to watch your child grow to become like a badass.
That sounds very Japanese and very you. I can see why you would enjoy that for sure.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. So it's like a normal like Sonic platforming game, but then there's also the other
It's a
components on it
3
as well.
it's a 3D Sonic game, which
Okay,
take that for
gotcha.
what you will. Yeah, the Sonic. There's one thing you need to know about the Sonic community and the fan base is that it's probably the worst fan base of any video game. In all honesty, like
Really?
everyone
Wow.
is just so divided. It's not a good place to be. Plus, on top of that, you got like the weird like Sonic original character fan base, which I am fucking not a part of that whatsoever in the slightest.
I could see some weird some weird furry
yeah.
potential in there as
Oh,
well.
there's
Yeah.
there's definitely a furry community there. There's actually it's a meme game where you type in your first name and then you put in Google, you'd be like Ben the Hedgehog, and the meme is like whatever, like every single name in existence has an original character, the Hedgehog, and it's
No
fan made,
way.
and it's dumb, and it's stupid, and
Oh my
kind of gross
God.
too.
Okay,
Definitely
I
don't
see
like
that,
that
but
part.
now I kind of want to see what Ben the Hedgehog looks like. I might have to. That might have to be the That's the picture for the episode. Unless it's like really
ew.
pornographic, it might not. It might not work.
It might be. Who knows? But
If mine's like, what does that say about me? If mine's like super nasty,
yeah,
like some real weird stuff.
Sonic on the Genesis. Sonic 1 was my first video game ever that I ever played. That like the age of 4.
Cool.
But yeah, as much as I know how shitty of a franchise it kind of really is, I still love it.
Yeah, it doesn't change your personal enjoyment of it. You know? Yeah, that's awesome. Next up for me, I have The Witcher 3. It's a series that I love in general. And I've like read quite a few of the books. There's a bunch of them. I haven't read all of them yet. But it's just a really deep, really interesting fantasy world. The thing I love fantasy in general, but the interesting thing about the Witcher series is it takes kind of standard fantasy tropes and kind of turns them on their head, and it's a very dark, kind of like dark realism fantasy, which I am personally really drawn to. As written by this Polish guy back in like post World War II, so it's kind of a dark time, so it kind of fit fit the vibe there. But yeah, the Geralt character is one of my favorite characters in video games. Some of the best side characters in the game itself is just the scope and scale of it is next level. Like it is just absolutely huge. You could play like that's a game, one of those games like you don't really finish. Like there's just so many like side quests and things to do. Like I don't know how you could 100% that game, especially with the DLC, which is the DLC is like another like probably 20 hours of content, if not more. It's wild. But the thing that really stands out for me about Witcher 3 that I think other games should try to emulate is just the quality of the side quests. There's so many of them, but it's not just like, hey, I lost my dog. Can you go find him for me? And then you like get him and bring him back and you get XP. No, like each one is like its own little kind of mini like short story. And it takes twists and turns and it's never what you expect. And it's just the writing in the game is there's so much of it and it's all so good. It's just crazy. Like the depth of the world is just awesome, and for such a big game, the combat's fun too, which I think is hard to do when you have such a massive game, and it's just gorgeous too. If some of the just look at screenshots from that game, and you'll be pretty blown away. Yeah, one of the better relationships in any video game, I think, between Geralt and Yennefer and Ciri, and then just. Yeah, and a really, again, a huge player agency as well, which if you can't tell, I'm a big fan of. You can make a lot of different decisions. The game ends like, oh gosh, like a bunch of different ways based off your decisions. But yeah, there's so many different endings. And it's also, I like it though, because Mass Effect, it's like, pick the blue option if you want to be the good guy, pick the red option if you want to be the bad guy. Witcher, it's not that simple and it's not that clear. There's just dialogue options. You got to pick them. And it's not like clear how that's going to affect things. And also for a lot of decisions, there's a timer on it as well. Okay. So you can like sit there for 10 minutes and like look it up and see like, oh, which one do I want?
Okay, yeah.
Because if the timer runs out, then it just randomly picks one. So you have it just
I like that.
It's awesome. It makes you like just really like live in the moment and like play it and just go through and see it. It's awesome. Nothing but respect for that game. I think it's one of the best games of the last 5 years, technically wise, let alone all the other stuff.
Sure.
So, yeah, that is very, very much up there for me. Again, something you should play. But I would recommend you could go 1 and 2 are older and they're like it's kind of rough. But I just did Let's Plays of 1 and 2 to understand that part of the story, just for the story, and then just play 3. That's what I would recommend.
I think maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I was like sitting at a desk at my home, and I was bored for some reason, and I opened like a drawer and I looked inside, and there was like in a one of those like flimsy like papery CD holders. I found one in the desk I was sitting in, and it had Witcher 2, like The Witcher 2 on the disc. I'm like, I don't remember getting this. Where did this come from? I remember like popping it in and downloading it for Witcher 2, and there's like I guess Geralt starts in the dungeon, and like I played like a little bit of that, then I never turned it back on again. I don't remember who the developer of Witcher is, the people who made it.
CD Projekt Red.
Who was it?
CD Projekt Red.
Project Red, yeah, that's right. Yeah, they're Polish based, right?
Yes, as is that's why it's such a labor of love, because the original author of the book series is Polish, and they saw it as like, hey, this is one of our biggest exports to the world, is this series that everybody loves. We need to like take it to the video game world with as much like respect and care as possible, and they certainly succeeded in that, and they're just a great developer. Free DLC, free updates are just really one of the better with like PR when it comes to developers, which, as we've seen recently, is not always the case. So yeah, big shouts to them. And their next game, I am insanely excited for, which we talked about at E3. They're Cyberpunk. So
Right. Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things from that development crew, and I believe also I heard that since Witcher is like super has a lot of heritage of Polish, like it's kind of like I don't want to say like a national treasure, but it's like the Polish people,
no,
like
100%.
they
Yeah.
love it. It's
That's
really
their
cool.
shit, yeah, and that's like that's like their thing. It's like the Harry Potter for British people. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
Ooh, that's a
it's
good
like
comparison.
That,
Yeah.
it's like that kind of vibe. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it's amazing. I absolutely recommend the books, the movies, everything. Get into the Witcher series. Next up for you, Nick.
I had Fire Emblem 7, which this is in the US and North American version. Fire Emblem 7 is just called Fire Emblem because this was the first game that came over that was translated from Japanese. It's a classic game. GBA, you get I really like sprite animations and just sprite artwork, so it's a beautiful game in terms of the sprites, how things look, the animations, everything like that. Yeah, it's kind of definitely at a time where I thought I don't want to say like I thought that I was dumb, but it definitely like the game made me feel really smart because it is like a turn-based tactics like war strategy game.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
like me succeeding and understanding this game, like it made me feel really smart and just like it just made me feel like I was actually contributing to something that made me feel smarter. So that's a great thing. Yeah, and just a lot of weird, wonky things. If you play any Fire Emblem game, you're gonna get like a crazy story out of it. So I picked 7 because I think generally that's probably my favorite out of all 13, 14 games of those now. And
Wow.
yeah, I just love it. First one.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've dabbled with Fire Emblem. I should try to get into it more because I like turn-based strategy. I enjoy. I'm curious to see the new one that's coming for Switch. If that one will get me into the series. I'm
Yeah,
looking forward to it. Though. I like
that one.
Like you said, it's very interesting.
That one looks like they were changing a lot of stuff. This is kind of a controversy and debate over the franchise in general. It's Fire Emblem has become like very, very Japanese anime, which I'm not a huge fan of. Like I don't know, I could like talk like a whole nother podcast about the what my opinions on the politics and everything about that, but it's definitely gotten to like a very much more anime centric fan base. But
So this like the storyline before was less so, like in the older games.
I'd say a little. It was a little. I think the best way to put it is it's toned down.
Gotcha.
Nowadays in the franchise, you got like bombastic characters, which I think is generally a good thing, but they're very anime trope. It's good to see these characters have more personality, but it's very Japanese anime eccentric.
Some big old anime titties in there now, I'm sure.
There's a great mechanic in one of them. Well, it started farther back, but I won't get into that. But basically, you can like in your army, you can when you're fighting against or fighting with certain allies, they'll like start a rapport. They'll start building friendships, and then eventually, they'll like fall in love and get married. So that's pretty cool, like character progression. And then in certain games, the marriage can lead to a child being born, which is pretty cool. But it's kind of a great concept, but it's kind of turned into just waifu wars, if you know what a waifu is. But just the general fan base around that is just something that I don't necessarily like, but it's there, so whatever.
Yep, I understand that for sure. So those were that was like the first like 6 for me, and those I didn't really talk about the ranking as much just because they're all kind of in the same general boat for me. But my last 4, I think are a cut above the rest for me, and I think there's a clear ranking for them. So
Okay.
number 4 for me is Red Dead Redemption.
Good one.
One of my just obviously I was like, hey, it's one of my favorite games ever. Yeah, no, obviously that's what we're doing here, dumbass. But why I love Red Dead, just Rockstar games in general. I liked GTA games. Like GTA 5 is awesome. I enjoy it, but I'm just a sucker for the setting and it's
Yeah, yeah.
it's the old west setting, and it's unique. There's not a lot of like cowboy
Westerns.
games out there. Yeah, Western games. And they just the themes in the game are super interesting. I'm a history nut, and like the way that they deal with like the end of the West, and the ideas in the West of like personal independence and freedom and manifest destiny and like the industrial age, like how that's like creeps into the old West is just really interesting part of American history that they really delve into. The story itself is amazing and really heartfelt and like really stays with the ending of that game like is just gut wrenching. And just the gameplay is super fun. I mean, you get to be a freaking cowboy and ride around on a horse, and you can do all sorts of fun, crazy stuff. But just the story and the setting that combination really hits home to me, and I couldn't be more excited for number 2 coming up here in
Yeah.
the fall. I'm so excited.
It looks
But
it
yeah, this
looks
is
beautiful.
it looks incredible. I can't wait. But yeah, the Red Dead Redemption really holds a place in my heart. I've replayed this game so many times. I absolutely love it. It is a hard, amazing number 4 for me.
Yeah, I definitely am in the same boat as you. Like, I like GTA. I play mostly 4, but I mostly play that online with like some buddies, and we would just like drive around in cars, just like talk about stuff. But it was a
Yeah.
fun time. But no, like definitely single player Red Dead is, I think, leagues above GTA. Just I guess it's kind of a niche at the same time, because honestly, there aren't a whole lot of people that like westerns. It's kind of like a
Hmm.
bygone genre, especially in terms of like Hollywood movies, of course.
Yeah.
But no, absolutely. Like I love westerns, and I thought that Red Dead was fantastic. Just like you said, I just really like that era of Manifest Destiny and Western expansion. I think that's such a fascinating time in American history, and any sort of media that sheds a light on more information and just like more lifestyles of that era, I sign me up.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing I liked about it is because westerns, like old school westerns, like John Wayne, Clint Eastwood kind of westerns, they have like certain tropes that they're in. Some can be like really kind of fantastical.
Yeah,
What I
yeah.
love about this one, it's really gritty, it's really
Hmm.
realistic and kind of dark, and also it has a lot of satire to kind of like a lot of westerns, which is really cool.
Yeah,
And yeah,
yeah.
it's just oh man, that game is amazing. I absolutely can't wait to see what they do with 2. I couldn't be more excited. And that is my most anticipated game coming up, and that says a lot considering there's a giant Spider-Man game coming out.
I think
Yeah.
Red Dead's like a perfect example of a game that's like something from a media that's like done tirelessly, but like only something of a different media can really do and make a different
Yes.
spin on it. Only
No, that's a
like,
great
yeah,
point.
yeah.
Yeah, and you especially see that just in the exploration part of it, how you're just like riding along like on the like lone prairie and there's like
Hmm.
nobody there, and then
Yeah,
like
yeah.
suddenly like a rattlesnake will pop up or like crazy like west stuff happens. Like it like you said, it really that art form is built perfectly to kind of reflect the open space and the like and just the feel of that time. Yeah, it's man, I absolutely love that game.
There's a
What's up next for you? Oh, yeah,
um
sorry, continue.
or real quick, there's a great like stick figure game. Like, it's actually really good. That's about western. It's a western setting, but I'll have to link it to you. It's a comedy
Yes,
game, but
I'm
it's
down.
fucking
That sounds
hilarious.
awesome. That sounds awesome.
Next game I had, it's kind of I couldn't pick between 3 games of a franchise, so I'll just say the I'll just say Tales of Vesperia, because that one is um it's current, since it's getting the director's cut over ported over to English. Tale series is a JRPG. If you haven't noticed, I like a lot of Japanese video games.
No.
Yeah, it's in my opinion probably my favorite JRPG. Uh, Probably I like some of the older ones. Like Tales is kind of having, at least in my opinion, the same problem with the Fire Emblem franchise, where it's getting really anime, which I like anime, but not
Anime
in
tropey, you mean? Yeah. Like,
yeah, like
mm,
yeah, it's like it's become very tropey, which I don't mind it, but it's like they've had like several games where it's just same trope, so I'm getting really sick and tired of it. But yeah, like Fire Emblem, I like a lot of the older Tales games. I think they're
Yeah, their
just
old
way
stuff was
more,
better.
yeah, way more original, way more different, and stuff like that. And Vesperia, which people did not think it was gonna happen for the director's cut to ever come to the West, it's finally getting a port. So pretty
That's
stoked about
awesome.
that.
That was really cool. That's always great when a game that's huge somewhere else is able to come over and other people get to really play it and enjoy it. That is very exciting, especially for the fans
Hmm.
of those series. I'm always happy about that, even if I've never played it and I have like no idea what's going on. Just that is so cool.
Right.
Um, okay, my number three, which I couldn't believe looking back at it, this is number three because I love it so much. But I'm going Uncharted 2. I
Great pick.
I love the Uncharted series oh so much. Just I grew up like Indiana Jones was one of my heroes growing up, and the Uncharted series is like a modern kind of more anti-hero Indiana Jones, and it's just amazing. The most cinematic game series ever. Like I think Uncharted is better than a lot of action movies that come out now. Just the set pieces, the action, and the characters are what really put it over the top. I think these characters that you just love and keep wanting to come back to.
Hmm.
Uh, I just absolutely Nathan Drake's one of the best video game characters ever in my opinion. Though Sully is my personal favorite character in the series. I love that man. But picking a favorite is tough because they're all great. But I think just two, personally, I give the nod to because it really elevated it. Uncharted 1 was awesome and it was like really well respected. But 2, it like came out and everyone was like, "Oh my god! Like this is like we didn't know video games could do this kind of level of greatness,"
Yeah, I
which
have to.
which is which is a huge deal.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I have to probably agree with you. I'd say two is probably my favorite from that franchise.
Yeah,
So
I like
let me
the
ask you a
story as
question.
well. Yeah.
What's your thought process on the the question of do you like games that are more like cinematic, where it's more of a more of a movie instead of you actually playing? Because I know a lot of people that don't like
That
games
is
like Uncharted,
yeah,
where it feels like they're just
yeah.
watching and not playing.
Yeah, I could see that. I think that's a bit strong for Uncharted because it's a long game and you're solving like puzzles and like temple ruins and stuff, and basically the gameplay is divided up into three different things where you're like solving puzzles, you're doing climbing, platforming, and then the gunplay. It's like
Hmm.
third person shooting. Um, and I don't know. I think Uncharted gets that's kind of a bad rap for it because yes, there is a lot of great cinematics, but the a lot of the cinematics is still gameplay. Like you are like in it. Like I think of one of my favorite parts of that game is when they're in Nepal and the building falls.
Hmm.
You know that
Hmm.
part,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
fall and you jump into the other building. Like that is like kind of a cinematic set piece, but you're playing it the whole time. Like the room is moving like around you, and you have to like dodge the guys that are in there, and then the like the falling debris, and then you have to like time your jump right to like to like continue in the story. So I think it's a great balance. I can see people like games that are like really heavy cinematics, but I just don't think Uncharted is. Like I think the balance is that's one of the best things about it is the balance is so great. And it's the way in the series they're able to just continue to one up themselves with like the coolness and the crazy factor. The thing that really sticks out to me about two though is J.J. Abrams did an interview back when he was doing press before Force Awakens, and they asked him
Hmm.
like, "What are like things that are inspiring you, or like stuff that is like really that you're like really impressed with recently in media?"
What he's flicking his bick to.
What is dude, nice, good job. That is branding. Hell yeah, good work. Oh man, moment of the podcast. That's awesome. Yes, and he said you remember the opening sequence of Uncharted when the train is hanging off the
Oh
cliff
yeah.
and he's in it. He said that opening sequence. He said that's the best opening to a piece of media I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And that was J.J. Abrams, and I totally agree. Like that, the way they set it up is just so. Oh man, it's so good.
Still my favorite opening to any video game. It
Oh yeah,
starts up
for
with a
sure.
goddamn bang.
Yeah, it's so great. I absolutely love that game. For the ending, just like warmed my heart. I was just so happy. There's debate, and if they're gonna bring it back at some point, I kind of want it to just be done. It's just so perfect. It's like
Yeah,
the
I
arc of the four
agree.
games is so great.
Hmm.
Yeah, that.
Let
Oh,
something else from Naughty Dog come out, because Naughty Dog is a crazy
they're doing other
company. I mean, when
they're doing
they
other good stuff. Yeah, it's not
yeah,
like that's their
yeah,
only thing.
yeah, when they made
They
like
should continue to create new things.
Yeah, when they made like the first Crash Bandicoot, they had to like they engineered to overclock the original PlayStation 1, which is insane to make it
Yeah,
better.
man. Yeah, their technical prowess along with all the storytelling and stuff is amazing. Yeah, those guys are the best. I have their logo on my laptop,
Right
and
on.
one of my favorite quotes was actually my senior quote was a quote from T.E. Lawrence that I learned that I like first heard of in the third game on their it's the Lawrence of Arabia, and they
Hmm.
go and find the Atlantis of the Sands. It's a great quote. Um, yeah, so that game has had just had an impact on me on that, and then like I still think about like Drake's like motto. It's Sir Francis Drake's motto, but Nathan Drake um, embodies it and talks about it a lot. It's sic parvis magna, which is
Yeah.
greatness from small beginnings, which I think is a great sentiment, and I really love it.
Yeah, that's
So
a
yeah, that's
great
Uncharted.
quote.
That's Uncharted for me, man. It's had a like big impact on me outside of just being a super amazing game. So
Hmm. Hmm.
up next for you.
So I tried this list. I tried to pick like a variety of genres, and it
Good, yeah.
ended up being just mostly simulation and fighting games, in all honesty. But um, I previously said that World of Warcraft was like a honorable mention for me. So I kind of definitely, or well, I put Final Fantasy 14 on this list. I'm not really a big MMO player anymore. Still really like the genre though, but I think in terms for me personally, Final Fantasy 14 definitely captured what every MMO kind of goes for, which is like trying to be like in an immersive world because it is a massively multiplayer online game where you have like it's just a giant world. For me personally, I think 14 kind of did that for me in terms of like me getting super immersed into it. Yeah, I combat system I liked a lot. Crafting was a big thing for me in this game because uh, kind of tough to explain for someone that doesn't inherently know because it is kind of complicated. But the crafting is definitely like involved. Like there's you have to like gather materials for like a sword that you want to build or something like that, and then like you can get like the regular materials or you can get like high quality materials, and from the high quality materials you have a chance to make a high quality sword, and it's like a percentage of like depending on how many high quality materials you have a higher percentage to make a higher quality like weapon or something like that. So it's very involved in terms of like a fantasy like immersive online game. Final Fantasy 14 kind of did that for me.
That is awesome. Yeah, I've dabbled in MMOs, but I haven't been super into. But everyone says it's almost unanimous. Like Final Fantasy 14 is like the best MMO ever.
It's
So
up there. It's definitely up there.
that's a big deal. That's a big deal. Number two for me, staying with Naughty Dog is The Last of Us.
Hmm.
Man, what can you say about The Last of Us that hasn't already been said? For me, what particularly makes it stand out, man, it's just everything. Like the game. First off, start with the gameplay. It's really interesting and different. The stealth combined with the crafting, with the combat and the platforming, it's all very interesting and unique. The story is, I think, the best version of the like kind of quote unquote like zombie apocalypse story because it's not like actually zombies. It's kind of different. I'm not gonna go into it, but I think it's the most realistic and interesting version of that story. It's super dark, really kind of just like bleak and depressing. But within that is one of the better character relationships in any medium. I think
Oh
the
yeah.
the Joel and Ellie relationship that really just changes throughout the game and is really inspiring. It made me think about like what like choices I would make like if I was ever a dad, like when I had a
Hmm.
daughter. Like it's just yeah, it's just the overall vibes of the game and the story along with the gameplay. There's just I don't know. There's just like nothing. I was like trying to think like what's something about The Last of Us that's like not like that I like didn't like that much, and there's just nothing. Like I don't I don't know what to say. Like maybe it'd be cool if it was a little more open world, but like even then, like the linearity of it, I think really suits the story
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
because they're going from one place to another. So that kind of wouldn't even make any sense. So like I just oh man, it's just so great. Again, one of the more surprising and incredible endings I ever seen. The way that during the game they switch between characters is probably the
Right.
best I've ever seen that done. Um, yeah, like it made you like think about like what humanity is capable of, both in good and bad ways. And Yeah, man. I have a vivid memory. I finished that game. I was down in my basement I was back home, and I was like playing deep into the night trying to finish it. And I finished it at like kind of like right as like I don't know what time it was, like right as when the sun was starting to rise. So I finished the game and like went outside and like watched the sunrise. And I was like, oh okay, everything's gonna be all right. Like this game is so dark and intense and depressing and just like mind messing. And I just went outside and like I saw the sunset, the sunrise, and I was like, okay, all right. Sigh,
There is a
everything's
tomorrow.
okay. Yeah, there is a tomorrow. And everything is okay. And the game just affected me on that level, and you just can't beat that. The Last of Us, um, I would say I think others have said maybe the best game of the last I don't know however many years you want to put in there. I don't know,
It's
but
definitely up there.
yeah, I absolutely love that game. I named my dog after the main female character in that game. Like yeah, obviously a big fan.
Yeah, I think well really the thing I really like about the game is like the initial start of the quote unquote zombies. I don't remember
The
specifically
beginning,
what it
is
is.
incredible. Yeah,
Yeah. The specific is like it's based on like some kind of fungus that an
yeah.
actual fungus that exists. That what it does is it's how it survives is it is literally a parasite. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's like a Venus flytrap or something like that. It'll like take like a fly or something like that. The fungus will infect that fly with the fungus, and then the fungus will just control the fly. So it's in terms of like realistic, yeah, that could totally happen.
Yeah,
Like that
it
weird
makes a lot
fungus
of
that
sense.
actually exists. Yeah,
And if
it could
you
definitely do that if it somehow like changed evolved and to like, take over humans. That's crazy to me.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. And if you like really like do a lot of the side stuff and like read a lot of the like notes and stuff you find, the politics of the whole situation, like how the government tries to contain things and like the factions that rise up outside of it is just super interesting for someone like me who's like interested in politics and stuff. And it's again, like I said, just insanely like the most realistic version
Yeah,
of that whole
yeah,
scenario
I
and
agree.
like the fireflies and everything. It's just oh man, it's the best. I cannot. We just we talked about in the E3 episode the Last of Us 2 trailer, and I have so many questions, but I don't want them answered because I don't want them to be spoiled. It's
Yeah.
oh man, I just can't wait. It's the best.
It's definitely a lot more brutal.
Oh god, yeah. If the first one, that was the other thing I didn't even mention. The violence in the game is like hyper realism violence, so it's like
Yeah.
almost like sickening because you like it's a post-apocalyptic, so you don't have like a whole bunch of like ammo, so it's not just like a running gun shooting thing. It's like, oh, I only have 3 bullets, but then I'm gonna pick up this brick because I need to use this brick to smash this dude's head in,
hmm
or like stab somebody. And it's like it's not like video game. You're like, oh, I hit him, and he like, oh, he fell, and he like disappeared. Like a video game, it's this dude's face is concaved in, and we're seeing it. Like it's not like a cutaway situation. Like it is
Right.
just so realistically
Doesn't hold back its punches.
brutal. It does not hold any punches, and it almost like, the other thing about the game that I see, the more I talk about it, the more I forget about things I wanted to say, is it like makes you reconsider like violence in a way. Like video games are violent for gameplay purposes to like make them like fun. Which what does that say about us? But this game, I almost was like because there's parts where you can kind of like sneak by and not kill people, and I like try to do that a lot because I just felt like some of the people in the game aren't like oh super evil guys. There's people who are like don't have food and like well I guess I need to take your food so that I can live in this
Right.
in this universe. And it's just oh man, it's
They're
just brutal.
they're bad guys, but only because they have differing goals and ideals and opinions from the main characters.
Or they
but they're
have the
not
same
necessarily evil.
or they have the same goals, and
Yeah.
there's just only so much like food and shelter and water to go around, so it's like a me or you situation. It really cuts to the core, that game. Naughty Dog, they know what they're doing over there.
Yeah,
They're
for
doing
damn
some
sure.
good things. They're doing some good things. All right, your second to last one here, Nick.
This is actually my last one, I believe.
Oh, is it? Am I can't count. Never mind.
Yeah, no worries. It's weird because you're like a step ahead of me or a step behind me. So I'm actually kind of interested. Ben, which do you think I picked for my last game? Again, I didn't like order these for like how much I like it, but I'm just
Okay.
curious. Which one do you think I
what
put
are
in like?
you? Okay, so you did a bunch of fighting. You did like Animal Crossing and stuff. What else do I know that you love?
Honestly,
You haven't had a-
you're
you
not
haven't
gonna
had a
guess
Ze-
it.
You haven't had a Zelda on there, which I know. You love Zelda. You haven't had any Mario stuff on there. You're a big Nintendo guy. Oh man. It's probably something I've never even heard of. What do
Oh,
you got? Come on.
you
I know it.
definitely, you definitely
Okay.
know it.
I know it.
For my
Okay.
last one, I put Mario Party 4.
Yes. I knew it was. I knew it was gonna come
How do you
Nintendo.
not like Mario Party? That's
Dude,
like it's like Monopoly. This
best.
is where your
Yeah.
friendships die.
Exactly. Yeah, friendships die for sure. God, I'm trying to think. What are the? I get them all confused. What are the main games in that one?
For the Mario parties.
For number 4. I'm trying to think what what was the special, like what were the mini games in that one?
Oh, for 4.
Yeah.
I think the most famous one for that one is called Book Squirm. It's where like you're in a book and the pages are turning, but they're like little
Yes.
holes. That one is
Yes.
insane and
I
intense.
do remember that one. Oh my god. Yeah. Ultimate part. That's what I've learned doing this list is the genre is so wide. I personally really am drawn to the narrative single player kind of open worldy like third person games. This is kind of my favorite genre, as you can see. That's kind of what I'm going through here with. But there's just so many other things. Like it was hard not to put a Smash in there because I know how many hours I spent like playing Smash and Mario Kart like party games. It's like it's almost like I said, this is like the most impossible thing to rank.
Right.
But
yeah, looking
to
at
choose from.
yeah, looking at mine, I realized like all of mine involves some sort of critical thinking.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's one of the most rewarding parts in video games. Like I don't understand how to beat this freaking level. I don't get it. And then you
Right.
like finally figure it out, and it's insane. Yeah, that's awesome. Mario Party 4. That's great. Oh my god. Yeah, the new one looks awesome. I'm really
Yeah,
excited for
yeah.
it. And it's perfect for
Absolutely.
this on the go on the Switch. Like I remember the first trailer for the Switch that came out, and there was like all these like like hot, like ethnically ambiguous people walking around like playing Switch at like the bar or like on a
Yeah.
rooftop thing. I'm like, no, I'm like, or at the park. I'm like, no one's gonna freaking do that. Like, that's so stupid.
No.
I'm like, dude, yeah, they are. Like, I see people all the time. Like, I was
I
when I was in
fucking-
DC, like I saw people all around, like on the train. There's a group of like 3 people on the train just playing Mario Kart. I'm like, that's so smart. Why didn't I do that? Like, yeah, it's insane.
I think that that commercial definitely does not paint an accurate picture. Like commutes, absolutely, but my fucking favorite one is like these bros playing basketball underneath a bridge at night, and then they like they go NBA. Like what?
And they go play 2K.
Like sitting. That just cracks me up so much.
Oh god, that commercial is so great. Yeah, man, we just played like some crazy game to pick up. Let's go play 2K now. Yeah. Oh god, so funny. But it was like more true than I thought it was gonna be. Like,
Yeah,
it's really,
yeah,
really crazy.
absolutely.
And Mario Party is like perfect for that. It's absolutely perfect. You bring the Switch to the party, like, all right, Mario Kart, let's go.
Oh god,
Or,
yeah.
we're gonna play Mario Party. Let's do it. Like, oh
Yeah,
man, yeah.
Play
that would-
play like a Mario Party game like on an airplane. That shit is
oh,
great.
nice. Everyone on that plane might hate you because you're gonna be like swearing at your friend. But yeah, man, that's a great pick. That's a great pick. You can probably guess what my number 1 is.
Is the acronyms OOTT? No.
Yes, that is
Yeah,
the one.
OOT. Yep.
Number 1, for multiple reasons, nostalgia, like historical significance of the game, is The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. For me, it was my first ever video game. My first console I got was the Nintendo 64. I got it when I was 6. My mom got it for me for my birthday, and it came with Legend of Zelda. And I was like, oh, what's this? And we pop it in, and it's just absolutely like, I don't know, it's just huge for my
Quick question.
Yes.
Was your Ocarina of Time cartridge the gold version?
Yes, I had the gold. I think. No, wait, no.
Okay.
No. My Majora's Mask was gold. I had just the
okay.
standard.
I think that's even rarer.
Yeah, it came with the
It was
the
a bundle
consoles. I think,
thing,
I think
yeah.
it was the normal gray, but my
Okay,
Majora's
okay.
Mask was gold. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, no, the Majora's Mask was gold, which is that's pretty rare. I don't know where that is. I should try to sell that. Anyway, yeah, like it was a bonding experience for me and my mom because the game. I'm a dumb little 6-year-old, and it's a Zelda game, so you have to like think it. So my mom went and printed off like sheet by sheet this guide that she found on the internet. And she would like help me walk me through it. And I was so bad at the game as a kid, like she would like beat the boss for me because I like couldn't do it. But then we kept progressing, and by the end of the game, like we weren't using the guide, and I was like way better at her than her, and we like beat the game together. So it was like
Oh, nice.
ties in like a weird like relationship with my mom in this game, along with just my first like love of like fantasy. And I think some people, I don't know if it's like technically true, but they call Legend of Zelda like the first like traditional open world game. And it really did a lot for just the 3D. It was like the first game that like really pushed the idea, hey, like this, we have 3D now, and this is what we can do with it, and it just completely changed the art form. The best music in any game ever, in my opinion. Like
It's
the songs,
fantastic.
because not only do the songs are amazing, they are like used as gameplay elements, which is just so cool.
Like the
I
music in that is literally timeless, which ties in with the
Yeah.
game, really. But
exactly
yeah, it's
weirdly enough, yes.
it's timeless. Like they're gonna be playing, like they're gonna be still playing Zelda's Lullaby and just Sorry
Oh, yeah.
Song, Opponent
Opponent
Song
Song,
for like
yeah.
20 years down the road.
Song
They're-
of Time.
yeah,
Oh, yeah, man.
It's
Like,
still gonna be
for
played, and
forever.
that's
And
crazy.
yeah, you can't say that. The game came out in, I think it was 90.
96, I want to
6, 7,
say.
8, somewhere in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just was, oh man, I go back to, I've played it so many times, I know it by heart. Like I can just walk,
Mhm.
like run through the game so quickly just because I know exactly where everything is. But it's just amazing. And the level of like storytelling and like cinematography that they pulled off with those limitations, like going back,
Right,
like, wow,
yeah.
this is still like really good. Like the cutscenes and stuff they have in it are awesome and are like make you feel things, and like it's nuts, man. I like the ending of that game when I was a kid, just like the first like piece of like outside of Star Wars, probably the first like piece of like art that like really like blew my mind, where I was just like, oh
Really?
my
Okay.
God. Like you know, you get in the tower and you're climbing the tower and you fight Ganondorf, you think it's over, and then he pops out again as like the fucking like Ganon monster. And he hits the Master Sword away, and it's like, oh my God, I have to beat him without the Master Sword. I'm just like, how is this gonna work? And it's just, oh man. And then the ending is like
I know.
kind of heart rate, like kind of like deep. Like they send Link back as a kid, and like and it kind of cuts it off to the point where you don't like know if
Yeah.
like Zelda recognizes him, and it's just like, oh man, like that was actually kind of.
Well, then you
kinda
get
intense,
the kind of shoehorned in Nintendo timeline, which I'll take it for what you will if
I
you
don't
believe in that
I
or
don't
not.
really subscribe to that. I kind of take each Zelda game on its own. It's on its own
It's a
merit.
nice thought.
And I like the little tie-ins that you see, like how Wind Waker like kind of ties into Ocarina of Time. Like just the light tie-ins are good enough for me. Or the like
Yeah,
reference,
yeah.
like
I
like, this
agree.
is the hero of time. I'm like, okay, that's good. I don't need like a set timeline, especially when you're like trying to cobble it together afterwards when that wasn't the plan initially. I'm like, well, why bother?
Yeah.
You know, I don't need it.
I think you should try the Ocarina of Time randomizer. Do you know anything about video game
No.
randomizers? So it's like, I believe you can just download on your computer, just Ocarina of Time on your computer, which is pretty damn cool in itself. But the randomizer version is you start off the game, but anytime you get like an item, it's just random.
So you could get like the big round sword like right away.
Yeah, you can't, like, as a kid, so you can't use it, but you can still progress through the game. And it's like kind of it changes up the gameplay like completely. Like you have to go do a bunch of weird stuff out of order just to maybe get the item that would work to progress the story.
Oh man, that is cool. I did the no shield challenge, and I did the no heart container challenge. I've done that.
Okay, yeah,
So you
no
don't
heart
use a
container
you
is
don't use a
fun.
shield until the mirror shield because you need it to like do stuff.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
no heart container is pretty fun and pretty tough.
Mhm.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it just I don't know. It doesn't beat that for me just on a personal and like historical level. For video games, I can't top that, and honestly, it probably never will be just because of the nostalgia factor. For me, but.
Hey,
Yeah, like,
that is
I
a great
use-
one to
Yeah, man,
not
and
to
I
never be
use
topped.
and I use those songs like as my alarms for different things. Like
Yeah.
I use Saria song sometimes, Wake Me Up, Opponent song. Like I love it. It's great.
When we were at Garrett's place like a couple months ago and we had to sleep in the same room, you had like the Majora's Mask Deku Palace theme like going off as your
I
alarm.
love that one.
that-
That was great.
That cracked me up. Like I had to stifle my laugh because I didn't want to wake anybody up. That was fucking
Yes,
funny though.
dude. I love that one. There's so many like just funny songs, and they're always like really loud, and like for whatever reason, the thing that I use to download them, they're like super loud, so I use them for alarms because I sleep in all the time. So yeah, it's the best.
They're very bombastic.
Yeah, very much so. I absolutely love it. I really want to see the Zelda Symphony at some point.
Oh god, yeah.
That goes through and plays it all. That's on my bucket list for sure.
Yeah,
um,
absolutely.
But yeah, I could sit and talk about Ocarina of Time for a whole nother podcast. So anything else you want to talk about, like things that you struggled with or thought about that came to mind creating this list for you?
You know, I wanted to again, like I said earlier, like I want to like have a diverse group of like different genres. Like I really wanted to put a racing game in this list. There's a lot that I could choose from, but I just couldn't pick one specifically. And really, I definitely got the thought process of like as humans we're prone to repetition. Like we like what we like, and
man.
we don't really change too much from that, which is kind of
Or if
interesting.
you do try different things, but like you have your favorite
Yeah,
stuff that you're always going to go back to. Like I play a bunch of other different style of games, but like
Oh,
the
yeah,
narrative,
yeah.
like third person narrative, like open world stuff is what I'm just really drawn to. I just love a good story. And as a not an only child, but a kid who's much younger than my siblings, gaming to me is like for the first majority of my life, it was like a solo thing. Like something I did by myself. So that I'm drawn to the single player stuff in that way. But not that I almost put Overwatch on here. I absolutely love Overwatch. I played the crap out of that. I love playing that with friends, but to me, that's just what it comes down to. What I always come back to is my roots. It's just sitting down and like, oh man, the best thing. It's like I got a whole day off. This new game that I've been like, when Spidey comes out, I'm probably gonna take that day off, like, and just go to town on some Spidey. Same with Red Dead. Like that's just the best feeling. Like I've this whole new world that I can like delve into, and like see this amazing story that's told in a different way than movies or TV, based just because of the art form and like the player choices and stuff. I really get off on that. So yeah, I was actually gonna say the same thing, that I found myself, even though I love a bunch of different other stuff, when it comes down to favorites, I just kept kind of going back to the same kind of genre. So,
yeah.
That is really interesting. I like to think that I tried a bunch of different things, and I do, but at the end of the day, it's the stuff that
you like what you
grew up with, and what you're most comfortable doing. So, yeah, man, video games, they're pretty cool. I love video games a lot. And you probably hear us talk about them more on the podcast, but I think that was a good kind of primer, so everyone kind of knows where we're coming from.
Yeah,
what our video game favorites and histories kind of are there. So yeah, that was another episode there of the Flick Your Bick podcast network with Ben and Nick. Please like videos or whatever, or the tweets wherever you're finding this on Twitter or YouTube. Again, feedback is always appreciated. If you have ideas for topics, like, hey, Ben, don't talk so much. Whatever you got, let us have it. We love hearing feedback. Until next time, Nick, do you have anything else you want to give us some? Actually, how about this? Give us some wisdom to get us through until our next podcast for the listeners. Give us a piece of wisdom here. Yeah,
drop us some knowledge. Okay.
What do you got?
Well, the one that comes to my mind, which is a very important one, is to always remember that licking doorknobs on different planets is sometimes illegal.
Okay. Yeah, I can imagine that. I can imagine that as the case.
That is a SpongeBob quote.
Dude, we need to do a SpongeBob podcast, dude. Your SpongeBob knowledge is so amazing. Actually, I want you to do a solo SpongeBob podcast just by yourself and just go to town. Oh man, yes, that's a great idea. Because I like it and I've watched it, but I'm not to the level that you have. And I really want to see it.
No. Okay, screw the quote that I just said. Screw that. My thing is, anything in life can be attributed to a SpongeBob moment.
Yeah, I've learned that. r/bikini bottom Twitter is one of my favorite subreddits. It's amazing.
Oh shit, I need to go there.
Yeah, dude, you need to check that out right now. I'll watch that Waluigi video, and you go to r/bikini.
Yeah.
It is all SpongeBob memes and jokes, and it's next level funny. Yeah, and my piece of advice for people is get a cushion if you're on a long car ride to sit on, so your ass doesn't hurt. Because your butt gets uncomfortable. It gets a little itchy sometimes if it's like sweaty. You know that feeling? You get like that butt sweat when you're sitting down for like an 8-hour car ride. Yeah, man. If anyone has any suggestions for like butt cushions for cars, hit me up, because that's probably what I'm going to be doing after this. Doing some Amazon surfing.
Please DM us for that information.
Yes, please. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Yeah. And until next time, guys, we will catch you later. Peace out.
Later.